The reason we chose this subject today because I will receive an email from a student saying that it's so easy for her to be compassionate to other people. She is a practitioner. She gives a lot of love to other people, but it's very challenging for her to be compassionate to ourselves, to herself. And this is why I chose this subject today. And I hope you have also questions about yourself. But first, let's understand what is the self we are talking about. Many people, they say, I. When I say I, what do you mean? We hear kids, we hear people around us saying, I'm hard with myself. I'm harsh with myself. I love myself, hopefully. I'm criticizing myself. Who is the I and who is the self? As if we are not one. And we are not one. And I think that the first step is to understand that there is a stream of thoughts passing in your mind, and you have no control. You have no control of what will be there. What kind of thoughts? Mean thoughts, happy thoughts, sad thoughts, negative thoughts. And this is the separation. The first separation is to understand that there is a radio inside our mind, and somebody took the microphone and starting to transmit thoughts. And if you hear really carefully, and if you're aware about what is going on there, you realize that those thoughts are really familiar to you. I had a session yesterday in the pad, and a woman said, my first time I felt not safe in life is because of my sister was mean to me. She always said, are you sure you don't know what you are doing? You are not making the right decisions. Like since she was 6, we can overcome traumas. We can overcome things like that. But the problem is that then the mind is doing it to ourselves. The same thoughts that you hear, I'm not good enough, you're not born with this thought. The same thought that she has, like, are you sure you are doing that? Like confusion, right? You cannot trust yourself. It's the thoughts that the sister told her. And then I'm asking her, how did you feel when your sister was so hard with you, belittling you? And she said, I felt really sad. So why do you do it to yourself? Right? And today we are going to talk about that. So I want you to take a journal or a pen or open a file and start to think, to write about the thoughts that you hear in your mind and where did he learn it from? And I'm referring from the mind to as a he, and to the heart as a she, for the separation, the yin and the yang, the different parts inside us. So let's go back, and to develop compassion to the story, we need to go back a little bit. I'm really like more into Zen, Buddhism, and meditation, coming back to the moment. But for really to feel compassionate to ourselves, we need to go to the young self. So we go a little bit to the past today. And I want you to go to your young self when you're 4, 6, 10. When is the first time that you didn't feel safe, that you felt fear or sadness? Because you are born to this life, and I'm sure that birth is not easy, to come back to the strong light from the womb, and cold maybe, and the body, we have pain in the body also as babies, and not always all our needs are met. So it's not easy anyway to come to this life, to this world. But then if you receive unconditional love and safety and warmth and food, of course, and touch, so then everything is okay. But there was a moment that you didn't feel that way, that suddenly you received a mirror that wasn't so positive from your dad, from your mom, from a sibling, from a teacher. So go back and write to yourself if you know. If not, we'll explore it some more. When is the first time in life that you felt not safe? That you felt alone? For me, it was when I was 4. My parents divorced in a very, very ugly way. Fighting, they were so busy in fighting. And I remember a moment I was alone on the couch, feeling so lonely. This is the moment I'm looking for. If you don't have a moment like that, sometimes it's gradual. And don't look for something big, like a trauma, moving a country, parents divorce, something like physical attack, sexual abuse. Don't think about that. It can be something more subtle. What happened that you suddenly felt not safe, not protected, sad? Do you have that? Raise your hand if you have you have it. I can continue. If you don't, by the way, sometimes it's gradual. One of the parents was very judgmental. One of the parents had a lot of expectations, was more mindy, less emotional. Baby gorillas can die without touch. We need touch so much as babies, as kids. Everybody needs touch, also us. So it can be only that, even not a trauma, just an ongoing education, ongoing approach of something more distant. Your parents told you that you love you, I love you. Some people are not able to say I love you. They cook, they bring gifts, they do everything, but not saying I love you. Did your parents say I love you? Raise your hand if your father said to you as a child, I love you. If your mom said I love you. If not, good. We have if not, so we need that. We need to hear it every day, I love you. You are wonderful. Good mirrors. Care, softness. Like my daughter, for example, she's taking care of herself. She's taking her time before she's going, the hair, everything slow. She needs a lot of time in the morning, also before bed. I see how she takes care of herself. The socks, not just that it will be exactly comfortable and everything. This is taking care of ourselves. Now, as a child, the parents had to do that, but some parents are just rushing you, trying to move you from place to place. It's more mindy. We need to be on time. Go, go, go. It doesn't matter. It is matter for a child to be comfortable in their body, to be, to eat the things that the body wants and needs. This is the starting of being gentle and compassionate to yourself, to be aware of the small needs that we have. And if you are parents, you know what I'm talking about, right? We are trying to find the balance between the need and the still there is life and things to do, right? So it started back then that we were taught to be mean to ourselves. And the problem with the mind that many times is loyal to other people, is loyal to the kids that bullied you, is loyal to a harsh parents in order to receive love and affirmation, is loyal to a teacher that he admires in order to be a good student, is loyal to an older sibling because if he wants to be like him, and also you need some attention and love. So the mind neglect yourself, neglect the heart, and starting to be loyal to those people and repeating even the thoughts and the behavior they did to you. And there is no compassion anymore. The mind become an enemy to the heart. Let's say there was a story I cannot forget. I worked with people for 22 years and I heard a lot of stories. One story stayed with me. Many stories stays with me, but this one, she came to me like 23 years old. Many years ago, it was when I started to work. And she told me she went with her brother to the beach and another 7 boys, and she was raped there by them. And I'm sorry, it's morning, I know, but for me, this is life. I hear it like a lot. This is what I'm dealing with. And then basically, she didn't protect herself. And she blamed herself. Imagine, she blamed herself. She told me that when she was 23, but back then she was 13. And she blamed herself of going there, of this, of that, many things. And she didn't cry. She was overwhelmed, right? She was shocked. And she didn't tell it even to her mom or to a teacher or to an aunt, and totally isolation. And the thing is that the way that they treat her with a lot of things they told her, she's treating herself. In that day, the mind became the enemy because the mind was with them. He took their side. He became, like them. You deserve it. Nobody deserves it, right? And the part that we call heart or self This is the part we want to be compassionate to. This is why you are here, to learn to be compassionate to the self, to the heart. But it's the opposite. Instead of being compassionate in that day, the mind took a side with the enemy, with the people that hurt her, with the bad people. So you live in this body with the part inside. Think about her. She lives in this body, I hope not anymore, with the part inside that is really mean to her, with the raper, with the mean teacher, with the harsh parents. We live it, it's inside us, as if we have no control of our lives. So first of all, the understanding, it's important. The awareness that you have thoughts in your mind that are not yours, that you believe. Now, let's say you have a child, or you will have a child, and she will play in the living room, and a neighbor will come and tell her she's not good enough, or tell her that something she made, I have so many crafts, but something she made is ugly. What you will do? If somebody, a stranger, will come and treat your girl that way, I hope that you, first of all, show him the door and be very, tell him stop, and angry, you'll be really angry and trying to protect her. And then go to her and say, you're beautiful, it's beautiful, everything is okay. But the part that we call the mind, that it's not even all the mind, because we need the mind. Let's say it's part of the mind, a policeman, a jailer, a raper, a mean parent, a hard brother, a harsh brother. This part is doing it all the time to the little girl inside, telling her she's not good enough, telling her she's to blame, confusing her. What do you do about it? I hope you do something, but many people do nothing. They continue to just allow the stream of thoughts to be there. And the problem is that because in the end, we believe so many years not good enough. Okay, I'm not good enough, right? You're fat, you're fat, you're fat. Okay, I'm fat, so I will eat anyway. I'm fat. It doesn't matter. You cannot do it. You cannot do it, so you don't do it. We believe this stream of thoughts, and this is the power of the mind. The thoughts create feelings, create reality. And now we want to shift suddenly to compassion. This is not easy. From this state to shift to compassion, it's like there is a big gap. How do we do that? So it's not easy, but it is simple if you understand. For that, we need to understand the story of the mind, the story of the policeman. And the story, and let's go back to the story of the 13-year-old girl. The story there, that what do you think she felt back then on the beach? Of course, it was painful and she was sad, but what else she felt? Before she blamed herself, before she criticized herself, before she decided not to share.
Alone?
Yes, for sure. What else?
Betrayed?
Yes, betrayed, it's already analyzed, right? It's not a feeling, but she was betrayed by her brother, so she cannot trust people. But in that moment, the self, the heart felt pain, loneliness, sadness. What else she felt? Eight boys, a brother and 7 more. What she felt? Brittany, you know.
Helpless?
Yes. She felt helpless. She felt fear. And this is the story of the mind. Suddenly something happened to you. And it doesn't have to be something big like this story. That you felt fear. That you felt helpless. You were helpless, by the way. You are young. And then the jailer was born. The protector was born. The problem is that the protector is doing it in a very mean way. But it came out of fear. And this part that we call protector, he sacrificed his childhood in order to protect. Some people really remember the shift from a child to an adult, even though the body was still 7 years old or 13 years old. You remember before and after. Before there was a girl that was playful, that was safe, that was silly, doing, things like a girl, like, crying and dancing and performing. And after, the personality was changed. And suddenly, she's protecting herself. She cannot allow herself just to be free, because bad things can happen, or she can be judged. So suddenly the frame of life is smaller, and there is lack of freedom. So this part that we call protector had to be there in order to survive. Without this part, we wouldn't survive. She wouldn't survive. She would not be able to pull herself up and continue life. And this part is so strong that it can shove all the memories down to the unconscious and the traumas, and really put everything down in the back just to continue to survive and live. If not, we'll die. It was too much. Or if a child understands that nobody is there to protect him, he needs to protect himself. He needs to take care of himself, right? So we are becoming an adult in a young age. So in one hand, this adult is a mean adult because maybe, or belittle, or a part that belittles you or hard with you. In the other way, he saved you and he sacrificed himself to survive. So in order to have compassion, and compassion to the heart is easy. Compassion to the victim, it's easy, right? It's so easy. Oh, the poor little girl, she lost her freedom. She cannot cry. She was lonely. She was scared. Like she was, or if you hear a story, of course, we are compassionate to the victim inside us. But what about the jailer? Can we be compassionate to this part that is mean to us? This is harder, but it's for inner change. This is really, really needed, because the mind that protects, that takes your freedom, that bother you in meditation, will not let go if you will not be compassionate to him, if you not understand his story. We go to many workshops to find the inner child. And when people do the inner child work, they mean the heart, not the mind. The heart, let's cry, let's process trauma, let's, do the emotional work, learn how to hug, to be together. It's beautiful, important work. And you are starting to give your heart things she never received. And it's today there are so many, and for many years, tools to process trauma. But what about the jailer, the protector that is there? Some people cannot stand it anymore. Shut up. I cannot stand your mind. It's too much. Stop belittling me. I hate you. So today it's the story about compassion to the mind. The mind that had to survive. Sometimes, by the way, school can be a war zone as well. A lot of bullying, a lot of things. So you need to survive in this environment somehow, and you need to start to put layers to protect your gentle self. So the helplessness that the mind felt, that the protector felt, the fear and the overwhelmed became something that we don't really love. But underneath the mask, there is a small child as well that is afraid, that needs help. So I think that when you meet this part inside you and you understand that you didn't have a choice to become like that. You didn't have a choice back then, but now you do. But first of all, you're starting to develop this compassion. Compassion to, of course, the self, compassion to the girls that didn't have love or touch, or wasn't seen and couldn't dance freely or cry freely or be a girl, but also compassion to the scared child inside that was helpless. They didn't know what to do because you're really, truly young. In the beginning, when I work with people and they tell me about their mind and I hear thoughts that nobody shares, people are really cursing themselves and mean to themselves. It's really harsh to hear that. So in the beginning, it looks like we are angry at the mind. We can be angry at the mind, but we want another thing to add to it. And this is to understand and compassion, to be compassionate to the mind. Because after you understand, that this mind, I'm not blaming the mind. I'm not judging the mind. I know that you didn't have a choice. You had to be strong in order to survive. You had to protect. And you did it out of love. Even a parent, by the way, that is harsh and hard, is doing it out of love. Can you believe it? Some people believe that, expectations and pushing the child too much and, not giving a lot of compliments because then he will not work hard or things like that. The mind thinks that this is out of love, but it's fear. It's fear that nothing will come out of him or that he will be like this or that. It's all fear. But some people don't know how to love. So also the part that we call mind, he learned that this is, this is the way from a parent, and he's doing that to you. The good news are that you can change your mindset. You can change the program that you receive. This program is not necessary anymore. Now we are not under attack. Now, in this moment, everything is all right. I hope that you're not sick. I hope you don't have pain in your body. I hope that you're not thirsty or really hungry, and that you're not too cold or too hot. So if all those needs are met, everything is all right now. And of course, if you're cold, bring a blanket. If you're thirsty, make yourself tea or bring a glass of water and come back to everything is all right. But part of us still is survival mode. Part of us is still believe that we're under attack, that not everything is all right. And then we need to invite those parts to this moment, to invite those parts, the young parts inside us that is overwhelmed or helpless or sad, to this moment and representing this beautiful moment. In this moment, really, everything is all right. And then challenges can come, of course, with people and work and many things. But we want to accumulate moments that you teach yourself that you are safe, that everything is all right, that you have time to take care of yourself, that you have time to make the tea that you love, that you have time to prepare the meal that you feel that will nourish you in this moment, that you have time to call a friend and share something and be vulnerable, to take care of yourself in a way that nobody took care of you. This is compassion. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you say to yourself? I hope not. We need to go. We are late. There are things to do. But some people take their phone too fast. I mean, checking emails. I hope not. What a parent will do to a kid in the morning? Like, how do you want to wake up your kid? Or how do you would love to be like when you're small? What do you think? Is the way that you wanted your mom or your dad to wake you up? Saying what? You can write in the chat, or you can unmute. What will be nice and compassionate and beautiful? Waking up in the morning and hearing what? I will tell you what I'm doing, but I want to hear you a little bit. I love you. Yes, why not? Good morning. First of all, good morning. Taking a deep breath to the morning, stretching. My kid needs a lot of time in bed. I wake them up half an hour before and they're stretching, they're gazing. Good morning, right? Look around. Wow, what a beautiful day. It's raining today, or it's sunny today. Or, yes, what do you need right now? I'm thirsty. Sometimes I wake up and I'm thirsty. I need water. Other time I'm really, really hungry. I didn't eat dinner or things like that. Or I need a cold shower. I love showers. So just being attentive with yourself, being kind to yourself. This is so important, the way we wake up in the morning. Leaving the phone, nothing will happen. 10 minutes or wake up a little bit earlier. Just to be nice to yourself. The same question is about what do you say to yourself before you fall asleep? I hope you, for example, if you fall asleep with a partner or a kid, you don't tell them, why didn't you do your homework? Why didn't you do cleanup? Right? Before bed, it's so important to say, Good night, sweetie. Have good dreams. I love you. Maybe to repeat a mantra, maybe to sing a song, maybe to read a chapter in a beautiful book. So Sharon is saying, always start with good morning. How did you sleep? How did you sleep? Yeah, good. And a few minutes snuggling. Beautiful. So you ask yourself, how do I feel right now, right? What do I dream about? Just to take this time to respect ourselves, to take care of ourselves. And before bed, so important, the ceremony before bed, because it will come into your dreams. So just to be compassionate and kind to yourself. Remember that we have young parts inside us. The skin is old. The skin, only the body is here 50 years, 60 years, 48 years, but we are young inside. And especially if you didn't receive compassion from your parents, this is the time to give to yourself everything you didn't receive. Just to be there with yourself. During the day, asking yourself, how do I feel now? What do I need now? When, sometimes when I start a Zoom session in a group, I'm asking them, okay, let's close the eyes. Let's see if you are cold or hot. And then I see people stand up, open a window, bring a blanket. So I'm saying before that, they didn't even ask themselves, right? How do I feel now? What do I need now? Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Did you eat lunch? I remember I had a student that didn't eat lunch. He was working in high tech and just skipped lunch. And then he felt so depleted at 5 p.m. Why? Why? I mean, it's like a parent that neglecting a child. Imagine a parent that will not give a child lunch, from morning 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., no food. The police will take them. This is really, so you are doing it to yourself. And this is the self-compassion, to understand that you have different parts inside you. One is, there is sadness for sure from the past. There is part that is angry. There is part that is fearful. And every time when you ask yourself, how do I feel now? Another part will answer. Another thing important for me to say today before I open the stage for questions is that every time you hear criticism in your mind, every time the policeman is coming inside you, the judge, the part that blames you, it's all out of fear. And if you don't understand it now, try to explore it in your meditation. It's all the helplessness that you felt as a child. The criticism is out of fear. And I will talk a little bit more about that. And this is the way to be compassionate to the mind, to the part you don't like in your mind, is to understand that this part needs help. This part is the part that needs help the most. Let's say you meet someone in a date, a blind date or just a date or in a party. And then the mind started to criticize. For me, it's a good sign. If the mind criticizes him, maybe there is a chance that he's the guy. How come? If he's a friend, there is it's not threatening. You feel good. You can take this person as a friend. Everything is okay. But if there is attraction and there is something else, sometimes the mind is afraid from connection. The mind is afraid from vulnerability. The mind is afraid to get hurt. So he will push people away. The people that he will push away the most are the people that you're afraid from. Why are you afraid of him? Why are you afraid of her? I want you to take it all the other way around. When you hear criticism, when you criticize somebody, a colleague at work, interesting. Why my mind is against this person? There are many reasons. Or there is a chance you can be good friends and the mind try to push, or it reminds you part of yourself. But there is a deeper connection there. So when my mind started to work, it's like we are going into alert mode. What just happened? You come with curiosity and you try to help your mind, telling your mind you are safe. You are safe. Everything is okay right now. No need to block. No need to go into this war. Criticism is war. We don't need that now. Just let go. Let go. Everything is all right. So we work with the negativity in a gentle way. You heard negativity in your mind and you stay gentle and you stay compassionate And you stay loving the criticism, loving the judgment, because you understand that it's fear. It's only fear. People are, the biggest enemy is inside. Nobody, you will never let anybody from outside treat you as your mind treats you. If somebody will say to you things you say to yourself, you will be so angry, right? But yourself is doing it for a reason. So first, homework, first to understand the reason. You remember, go back to see when did it start? 13, 10, 4, 6. What age the mind had to be strong in order to survive? When did you stop being compassionate to yourself? When did you stop being loving to yourself? This is first. And this is an investigation. It's beautiful to check. If you don't have an answer now, it will come in your meditation. Sometimes it's apparent, but it was always there. I remember somebody told me, it happened to me the first time I saw my mom. I was scared for my mom. So it happened really early when she was a baby. Other people, it happened later on. When did you feel like scared for the first time? Fearful, alone, overwhelmed, helpless. This is one. Then you understand, oh, I lost the compassion to myself back then. The protector was born. How can I be compassionate to the critic inside me? How can I be compassionate to the judge inside me? And this is in general, by the way, it's so easy to be compassionate to victims, right? And it's harder to be compassionate to the people that hurt. And this is art, but you start from within because you understand that you had to become like that. You had to be to create a wall to separate you in order to live life. This wall, the bricks are criticism, guilt, confusion, all of belittling, the fear, anxiety. Those are the bricks that keep you safe. Safe maybe physically, but not emotionally. So it will not bring you to a good place emotionally. It will bring you into depression and loneliness and sadness. So many times I'm saying to the mind, you think that you are successful. You have a good job. You have this, you have that. But you failed. You failed in compassion. You failed in creating happiness inside. You are not happy. Your heart is not happy. Your heart is neglected. You're not kind to yourself. In this, you failed. So you won in one area, you're successful. But here, there is so much work to do. How are you going to change it? By changing the stream of thoughts. So practical is like that. You hear a thought, a negative thought. For example, I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. Why did I do that? Guilt. Anything you want. Negative thoughts. Think about something that is repetitive in your mind. What do you do with it? Some people just let it pass. First of all, if you're aware of it, you're already in a good place. You're already aware. I see my mind, I cannot stop it, but it's there. So I'm happy that you're aware that you have this part that judge you. But what are you going to do with it? We remember the story of your girl sitting in the living room and a man comes, a neighbor comes or a woman and telling her that you will be upset. There is no way you will not do anything. But how come you are so passive when you are doing it to yourself? But the problem is that what can you really do? To be angry with it, it will not go. It will not help, right? Sometimes people say, shut up, I don't want to hear it anymore. They become angry at their mind, angry at those thoughts. It will not help. Just to surrender and to, okay, this is me, I'm not good enough. Go into depression, not so good. So this is the challenge. And for me, I think that in my journey, first of all, in general, I love riddles. But in my journey, I took it as a challenge. How I'm going to figure it out? No way I'm not. And what can I do? I tried so many things. So maybe a mantra, instead of saying those ugly things, we'll take a mantra. And then the mind saying the mantra. But how long? We cannot say the mantra all day. So it didn't help me. I did transcendental meditation. It was great because you take a break from the negative thoughts, but they're coming back, right? And then you take a break, you're going for yoga and you do 1 hour yoga and stretching, and you have a break from this voice. But after the class, after 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 hour, depends of, it will come back. The same judge will come back. So I tried so many things. And I want you also to explore how I'm going to help my mind change. It's like a child that is very, very upset and rude and angry and judgmental. And you are the parents, your responsibility to help him change, right? Because he is your kid. This is obvious. But what about your inner kid? So the way that I found, the only way for me was to be compassionate to it and to understand the story of the mind. And then every time the mind is attacking, to say, I love you. Everything is okay. You are safe. No need to fight. No need to attack. Because it's a kind of an inner attack, criticism or blame. And just to, with love and compassion, we can soften the mind. And it's really, really helpful.